Microdose, yeah. Microdose. Microdose. Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes coming to you with the summer solstice edition of the Microdose. That's right. The longest day of the year has now passed us, and the days are only getting shorter. But still, sun does not set till like 9:30 anywhere. And here to confirm or deny that, coming all the way from the Sunshine State, he is the funniest man in the room. He is the CEO of Angelcake Entertainment. My man, Drew Angelman. Drew, what's good, yo?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about movies, and I'll be honest, I've been kind of out of touch with the movie realm recently, so I'm excited to hear what you have to bring up with these movies that are coming up this quarter, and also talk about my movies that caught my fancy.
Dude, you and I were talking just before we hit the record button here, and you were like, "Yeah, just like you said, I'm having trouble finding stuff." I was looking down the list and was like, "Oh shit, I want to see this, and I want to see it," and I had to push myself to 5, and I'm like, "Well, I hope he says this one, and then I can sneak this other one on the list here." So, but
more the merrier, in my opinion.
I hope to maybe change your mind on a couple of these, or maybe bring them to your attention. Like, oh, is that what that's about? That sounds dope as fuck. Like, TBD, TBD. But last time you were here, buddy, we talked about 3 movies that we were looking forward to, as is the case, and we were both stoked about Super Mario Brothers. Like, that was just like a bonus thing, but we were just like, this looks fun as shit. Like, it made over $1 billion. And did you get a chance to see the Super Mario Brothers?
I did. If I could, like, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you need to see Avatar in theaters." I would say that you needed to see Super Mario Brothers in theaters, because this was just fun. I went during the week, one afternoon, and I was nervous because kids and a huge family came in after me right before the movie started, and came in behind me. But it was like watching Jackass 4, when it's like you could see it by yourself in a theater, or you could watch it with a whole bunch of people, and there wouldn't be any wrong way to watch it. And to me, the Super Mario Brothers was enhanced by having a little bit of a crowd with me. Not the best movie, 100%, not it's golden. It did everything correctly, but it hit everything that you wanted from the video games and the nostalgic factor and all that other stuff. It was just good, in my opinion. It was just a fun time. It was a nice hour and a half. It was crisp, clean. I was in, I was out, and I enjoyed it. I almost went to see it a second time. Right. But I did not, unfortunately.
I was grinning from ear to ear, man. Again, it's perfect time length. I'm not concerned about the story per se. Again, it's a video game movie, and it's also intended for 6-year-olds. It just happens to be lucky that me in my 40s is still enjoying this, because I played this when I was a child as well. I played this when I was probably 6. So loved the Super Mario Brothers. Speaking about children, you brought up Spider-Verse 2. And when I went to go see this, I neglected to do the math and check the calendar. So when I saw the 4 p.m. showing opening day, I went, oh no, it's the last day of school. So I'm surrounded by kids, which usually isn't a problem at this hour. And I got a row of 12 badasses in front of me. Drew Angelman, they're being rowdy as fuck during Noovie, and again, last day of school, it's just Noovie, whatever, but they're dumping popcorn on each other and being loud as fuck. And then I don't know what's triggered it, dude, but kid number 8 got out of his chair, walked all the way over to kid number 2, grabbed him by the throat, and just started pummeling him onto the floor.
Oh,
people are going, what? What's going on? Blah blah blah. No one's really phased, no one's really saying anything, but then kid number 2 walks back to his chair. Kid number 2 gets back up, pops his collar, and he goes, "Hey, Davey, you forgot your cookies, motherfucker." And this kid's like, "Fuck you! I don't care about the cookies." And then Noovie is still not ended yet. We're doing the whole gimmick where Machete is going "I knew it was you, Fredo." Regal management, one dude handled all these kids, and it was amazing. He's like, "You, and you, and you." The other 10 of you are guilty by association. Get up. Let's go. This was the RPX theater, by the way. So all these little bastards paid $20 for the experience to get thrown out because of this one guy. Gotta give it up to kid number 12, he was like, I didn't have anything to do with that shit, man. Like the entire group got back up, and then when the manager left, he just went back to his seat and then sat down and just was like, fucking here to see Spider-Man, dude. Fuck this. Like, having said that, I enjoyed Spider-Verse 2 quite a bit. In fact, when I left the theater, we were always talking about runtimes on this show, Drew, and I thought the fucking thing was only 100 minutes long. Dude, I did like I was looking something up and I was like 220, 2 hours and 20 minutes. No way. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous going into that movie because the first Spider-Verse movie is like one of my like top 10 movies of all time. Like I love it. I've watched it a billion times. I just love it. So to know that this movie was coming out and it, like my hype meter was so high, and a lot of the times when you have that kind of like want for a movie and you have these like big aspirations for a movie, it's hard for them to hit that bar. And I just thought that just the art style alone made it hit that bar. Like I didn't know what to expect realistically from the movie, except for Miles is going to be going into the Spider-Verse instead of everybody coming to him. But everything was just so well done. Like this is masterfully done through the art style, through the animation, and through story wise. Now, I will say I was shocked when the To Be Continued came on because like you said, I didn't know what the runtime was. I was just enjoying myself. I felt the story was well paced. I mean, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'll complain for a movie to be over 2 hours if it needlessly is 2 hours or 2.5 hours or almost 3 hours. But that movie could have been 4 hours, and I would have sat there and been like, "Wow, is there still an hour left of this thing?" Because I would still want to be in there watching it. So I was kind of shocked when there was a To Be Continued, but in saying that, I felt like it was a really, really well done movie, and I loved. I just how do you outdo yourself from that first Spider-Verse movie, and somehow they did it, and all the cameos were incredible. Daniel Kaluuya was awesome as the rebellious Spider-Man. And you know what I really liked about this movie is like we just talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I'll say this real quickly. We talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and a lot of those ideas of who should be whom is just getting a known actor to be them, and sometimes it can take you out of the experience. Like Charlie Day as Luigi, like you can't think of anybody but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with him trying to sell you kitten mittens or something. Like you don't lose yourself in that performance because they want Charlie Kelly to be Charlie Kelly in that, or Charlie Day to be in that. But in Spider-Verse, no voice outdoes what you are watching. You're just fully into it. Like I know Jake Johnson because I'm a huge New Girl fan. I love Oscar Isaac and all these other people that are in it, Haley Steinfeld and everything. I don't see them. I don't hear them. It took me a long time to figure out who Daniel Kaluuya was in the movie. Like I was where is he coming from? Like I couldn't even. And it was just really good. I just love it so much. It was really, really good. I wanted to see it again in 3D. I couldn't get back to the theater before The Little Mermaid came out, and then that took over all the theaters, and then the Transformers movie came out, and then that took all the bigger theaters, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, I'll wait to see it again.
I'm not sure this movie had a 3D screening because, again, I left the same impression. Like, I want to see this in 3D. Like, I had the same thing with the first Spider-Verse. My biggest complaint of this film is that hard stop. I want to say I knew there was a second film or a third film coming, and that's because the previous film won a freaking Academy Award. So I was like, duh, it's only going to have 2 more films. But much like that hard stop in Spider-Verse 2, I also hated it in another movie on your list, and that was Fast X. Fast X had a great time the entire way. I complete change of heart from Fast 9. Fast 9 is still the worst of the series, but this I was like, all right, we're back to basics, baby. And then hard stop, and I'm like, I know we got a part 2 coming, and you're teasing the part 3, but like we can have a resolution and still achieve that, you know. Like I went into a big thing about this with Steven Steinbacher last week, where it's just like, you know, people are trying to compare both of those films to like, this franchise's Empire Strikes Back. Like, no, it's not, dude. The Empire Strikes Back, even with a cliffhanger, had resolution with every character. You know, and if there wasn't a third one, like that's the story. Like sometimes the good guys don't always win, buddy. But in this case, it's like hard stop. And we're gonna have. I'm 100% sure we're gonna have that happen again with another movie that we may or may not talk about later tonight.
I thoroughly did not enjoy Fast X
Really?
whatsoever. I I knew going into it that it was going to be like a part two and a part three, possibly that they're going to do these like this was just going to be the setup movie. But it's just so ridiculous now. I felt like the world already feels very cartoonish, and then Jason Momoa's character was just like even more cartoonish. Like it just didn't feel grounded in anything. And then just the wildest stuff would happen over and over and over again. Also, I never felt like it could actually set up anything. I think the most of the setup was Jason Momoa is the bad guy and he doesn't like Dom. And that's it. Like that's all they set up because they had to touch upon 15 main characters so that way we knew where everybody was slash I don't even remember where everybody was leading into the second movie and then leading into the third movie. So I was like, I wish I would have just maybe binged the first one at home right before I see the second or third one. But it was just to me I was like, what the heck? And that ending, oh, that ending. I was like, what are you going to do? What are you? But it doesn't matter because nobody dies in these movies, apparently. Nothing matters. Nothing matters from the first 9 movies that came out because everybody who died is just going to come right back. So I don't understand what I've invested my time in. If this is how they were going to make the Fast X, the Fast X trilogy at the end of this thing is the only thing that will matter because everybody's just coming back being like, hey, remember me? I was in that car pileup and it exploded and you saw me right before it exploded. But guess what? That was a dummy. It's like, no, it wasn't. It couldn't be. Whatever.
Well, I'm not even 100% sure we're going to get a Fast X3. But it's because of the performance. So whether you loved the last one or hated it, this has one of like the worst openings in franchise history. So like I think they're contractually obliged to still do that second Fast X, but I doubt we're going to get a part the third. Does the franchise end? No, I think we move on to the kids. We move on with little Brian, and we move on with Giselle's crazy ass and Elena's fictitious daughter that we just met that she's never brought up, but whatever. I mean, she's also supposed to be dead, but I bet she comes back to life too, despite getting shot point blank in the head by Charlize Theron.
Also, how like over under is John Cena coming back in the next movie?
I'm positive he does.
Has to. Even though we saw it with our own eyes, he's coming back.
Yeah,
ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
2 people who fell off a plane are now confirmed to be back. A lot of people keep forgetting that Jason Statham's brother, who was the bad guy in Part 6, I mean, he got thrown from a plane, but he's in Fast 8. Like it's 3 minutes, but people forget that. So anyway, enjoyed the Fast X10. Surprised that we got to wait till 2025 for it because they're saying Spider-Verse 3 is coming out next year, and I'm like, good.
Yeah.
We don't need to be waiting this long. I'm going to jump over to my list for a minute here. Did you get a chance to see Guy Ritchie's The Covenant?
No, I forgot about it.
No worries. I will say this about it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It told a nice, tight story. But it's the only, maybe not the only, it is a action war drama that wishes really hard it was a true story because they had all this unnecessary detail and historic footnotes. And in 2003, the United States invaded Afghanistan with only 2,000 troops. And then by the end of the year, there was 50,000 troops. And here's this guy, he carries this weapon. Here's this guy, he carries this weapon. Here's this rowdy lady, she carries this weapon. Like, just it keeps going through all. At the end of the movie, there's like, here are photos of guys that we kind of based this movie on. And it's like, Guy Ritchie, you stop that. Just make a good movie. You stop this. I'm going to go to a movie that I think has been rated the worst movie of the year. You had Beau is Afraid on your list. Did you get a chance to see that?
Oh yeah, I did.
How was that?
I cleared up my calendar for a whole day to go see that movie and be at the movie theater for like 3.5 hours. I
Odyssey.
will say that, yeah, it was. I want to say this. I love Ari Aster, and even though the movie was long,
Sure.
I actually found it interesting, like very interesting. And I kept on like, I wasn't bored through it. And it's one of those movie going experiences that I will remember for a long, long time. Like I put it up there from when I went to watch, gosh, what is that movie that was bonkers last year? Oh my gosh, The Barbarian or Barbarian.
Oh,
Like
Barbarian. Yeah.
it's up there with that kind of movie theater experience where I just was watching the screen and it
Okay.
was happening and I couldn't believe what I was watching, or I was trying to figure it out and nothing went at all how I wanted to. And I was uncomfortable at times. I cringed at times. I laughed at times. It was a wild ride. Clearly, Beau is Afraid is way longer than Barbarian, but both were movie going experiences I will pretty much never forget. But yeah, I liked it. I know it's very polarizing, but I liked it.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, I for some reason my dozen screen multiplex down the street did not get it, and then I was just like, I'm not going downtown. I think this is the first decent review I've heard of it. Otherwise, it's just been like, I can't believe they actually put that in a theater. And it's just like, oh, that's a shame because I'm like you, dude. Like Ari Aster, like he does some really good work. You know, I've only seen Hereditary, so okay, I'm glad to hear that Beau's Afraid is worth a stream when it comes out.
I would say yeah. And I don't disagree with that review of how could they put this in the movie theater, because I agree. I mean, I watched it and enjoyed it, but there was times where I'm like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah.
what? How did we get here? But it's a fun time to a certain extent.
All right. Well, another movie that somehow did not make my 12 screen megaplex. It has taken the slot for my favorite movie of the year so far, Polite Society. I used to have all the cast names and directors.
Oh,
Oh, actually, maybe I still have this here. It is actually just now, if you have the Peacock service, it is now available for free on it. Written and directed by Nita Manzoor, starring Priya Kasara, Ritu Arya, and then Nimra Buka. It plays the evil mother. And dude, much like the Super Mario Brothers, but with just kung fu for all 94 minutes of it, just grinning ear to ear. I had a great time with this. I had to go out of my way to see it because, again, it didn't make it down the street. So, and I didn't feel like going downtown, but just less out of the way than the downtown theater. It's just like, yeah, I want to see it in this very tiny, intimate theater. And when I wasn't enjoying the stunts, I was laughing my ass off. And then this movie goes completely to the left. I already talked about it last week. I don't know if I necessarily want to spoil this for you, but it's a shame nobody went to go see this. But I think it was just one of those limited releases.
yeah. I remember we talked about it last time, and I was trying to keep an eye out for it, and I don't remember it ever being in the theater that I normally go to. And it wasn't until this past week where I did see it on the front page of Peacock, and I added it to my list because I was like, oh yeah, that's that movie. And I'm so excited. Like I was already excited, looking forward to look forward to seeing this movie, and then hearing you talk about it right here right now like gets me even more excited to see it, because it looked really good from like the one or two times I saw the trailer in the theater. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go watch it hopefully by this weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of heart to it. You enjoy the characters. The cast is fantastic. And then, like I said, there's a twist. Like maybe there's even two twists because I thought this movie was heading in one direction. Like as crazy it gets, like I thought all the way up into the credits, like it's going this one, it's going to end this one specific way. And when it didn't, I was like, that's the movie. Holy shit! Okay, all right. I want to purchase this now. So those were the last six movies we talked about last time. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Drew Angelman, what is on your list for the next 3 months?
All right, so we're gonna start with July. I'm going to talk about a movie that looks to be absolutely bonkers, as we were talking about with Fast X, but Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One. This is the year of the first parts, or just part movies, cliffhanger movies. I fell in and out of love with all the Mission Impossible movies. I remember seeing all the way up to Ghost Protocol, and then seeing it in theaters, not being superly thrilled with it, skipping over Rogue Nation. I still haven't seen Rogue Nation all the way
Oh,
through,
wow.
but I jumped into Fallout because of Henry Cavill and his stacked mustache, and it was awesome. It was probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of that year. And I remember watching it like 6 times during that year. I just really enjoyed it. So I'm actually looking forward to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I know my family is looking forward to it. So I'm excited to experience that in Dolby, in a comfortable theater with a ton of people, as well as my family.
Not bad. I too am looking forward to the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is, again, I'm 100% sure this movie is just going to have a hard stop. And I bet it's going to be that fucking scene where he drives off the cliff with the motorcycle. Like, I feel like that thing is too spectacular to just be like the opener. Or, I've been surprised before. The past 6 months is we've had movies about the multiverse, movies that just hard stop, and then movies about industrial products that like the little product that could do. It's been a weird 6 months here. The Mission Impossible series, like, so that first movie, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen it, but like that came out at a time when we were just regurgitating TV adaptations. Let's take the Munsters, let's take the Addams Family, and let's take Car 54. Where are you? Just they're just literally pulling names out of a hat. And by the time we got to Mission Impossible, I was like, all right, that would be fun. Tom Cruise and I forget who directed it, but Brian De Palma. Like Brian De Palma's doing an action movie in the summer. Crazy. The sequel with John Woo, yeah, man, that thing is out there. It's I don't know I can defend it, but once we get into part 3, like this is a series that has increasingly got better with each one, despite always being the same plot. Ethan Hunt has been disavowed. Him and the team are on their own. Thankfully, they've got a secret stash spot, but they need to clear their names, save the world, and kill some bad guys in the process every time. So, looking forward to the Mission Impossible Part 7. And yeah, Isai Morales, that dude's going to be a bad villain, dude. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to also go to July here. And little R-rated comedy that's coming out. We don't get too many R-rated comedies, and that's going to be Joyride with Stephanie Hugh and Ashley Park. I don't know what Ashley Park has been from, but Stephanie Hugh is in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She had a Best Supporting Actress nominee, and she looks very funny in this. It's about 2 Asian friends. They're one, I believe they're both Americans, but anyway, one is adopted, doesn't understand her roots, and so they go on a trek to Asia. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have my geography in front of me here, but looks like a lot of fun, and it's same guys. It's Seth Rogen's team, so it's gonna have all sorts of raunchiness to it, and should be a barrel of laughs.
Wow, I haven't really heard of this movie, but it definitely has Stephanie Hsu in it, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be a financial bomb. It's going to be a financial bomb.
It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, out of only 15 reviews, but that's pretty interesting, especially for a movie I haven't heard. But it looks
it's not going to do well in the Midwest. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, I would go see this movie.
Yeah, but you live on the coast.
Yeah, that's true.
You've probably been around an Asian person or two outside of a restaurant. You know, like, oh, hello, friend. Perhaps we should all go see Joyride together and laugh. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Joyride, and I hope people go out and see it. But my prediction is it's going to sail in and out of theaters very quickly. So, what you got next on your list, Drew?
I just want to touch on 2 movies real quick before we head into my August pick. What are we expecting for the Barbie movie? I mean, I don't know what to make of this movie. It seems like it could either be one of 2 things. It could be like a pop culture like success, and this could be a really fun, frolicky movie, or it could be like an absolute just like a barrel of chaos and mess that just becomes a meme unto itself, because I don't know what to expect from this movie. I've seen various trailers and I still don't know what to make of it. So I wanted to know what are our expectations? What is this movie? Is this a movie?
This is definitely a movie. What kind of movie? Yeah, I finally saw the second trailer the other day. In the second trailer, Barbara's just like, "What do you guys think about death?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go a little dark on this one, huh?" Okay. Yeah, just as you said, dude, this thing is going to be an Academy Award nominee, or it's going to be the punchline of the year. This is as funny as the Barbie movie. It's going to go down like Ishtar. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see it in theaters. I'm happy to see it the same day I see Oppenheimer. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I'll see you when I get there, though.
Yeah, speaking of Oppenheimer, I'm actually intrigued by this movie. I'm not a huge fan of Christopher Nolan. I mean, we talked about runtime, and I guess I shouldn't be talking, but it's like 3 hours long. But for some reason, I'm like mesmerized whenever the trailer comes on. And it's like I always see everything in Dolby, but I keep on seeing IMAX everywhere when this trailer comes out. So now I'm like, if I go see that movie and clear up my whole day, I have to see it in IMAX but I'm way more intrigued about seeing Oppenheimer than say the Barbie movie, which hurts me because I love Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, and I love just wacky, crazy concepts and stuff. And I'm not a huge fan of Christopher Nolan's like last couple of movies, but to me, Oppenheimer just seems like a more interesting, well put together movie that I could see Nolan actually hitting. Like not necessarily I can't remember that other movie that was weird and wild and backwards.
Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet. Yeah. I was gonna say Tourist. I was like, it's not the Tourist.
He probably.
But I feel like he can actually. I feel like he could actually hit this one and nail it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to the Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I mean Oppenheimer. It's going to be a dark and heavy story, and just the few scenes we've seen in the trailer where they're like, "What do you mean this could actually blow up the whole?" Or it's like, it's probably nothing. He's like, "How close to nothing?" Just a little over zero. He's like, "Just a little over zero." Like, this is why the Barbie movie is perfect counter programming because
I mean,
you're going to see just nothing but death, and Cillian Murphy is not going to be bringing the hilarious comedy to this dark and depressing historical feature. So that's why the Barbie movie is perfect counter programming for it. Like, again, you're going to spend 3 hours thinking about irradiating an entire population.
Yeah,
you're going to need something to try and bring yourself down from that. So
intense drama, morality, what it means to be human, just really heavy subjects for 3 hours, or go listen to that Aqua song for like an hour and a half to 2 hours with Ryan Gosling with bleach blonde hair and Margot Robbie on roller skates.
Yeah, I have to wonder how many different remixes of that song they will do in this movie. Like, you remember in Euro Trip, they had the one song and it just kept showing up every, like at one point it's even a ringtone. You're like,
it would be great if like there's some like there's an ending and it's like Ken and Barbie like rekindle everything and they're running towards each other and it's like an acoustic version of I'm a Barbie Girl, and it's just it's just a really mellow version. I would like that.
Melody. Nice little piano melody.
There we go.
Throw on some violin. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Get a whole orchestra.
I'd be surprised if they didn't do it, honestly. Hit August.
All right. The one movie I want to bring up that's in August that caught my attention was the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. You talked about Seth Rogen. I think his team also did this movie. I do like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I grew up watching a version of the cartoon that was on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or something. But this one actually looks really interesting by the way of the art style and the way that they depict the turtles as actual like 12 or 13 to 14-year-old like teenagers. Like every
Mm-hmm.
version that I've ever seen, they seem older. They don't really seem like teenagers. They seem like full-grown adults, but turtles.
Sure.
But this one actually makes it feel like this is their origin story. They're still learning. They're still trying to adapt to their lifestyle and becoming superheroes. And to me, it just seems way more interesting of an arc to take a property that we've seen over and over and over again in all different styles, in all different phases. So I'm actually pretty intrigued by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem that's coming out on August 4th.
Oh, that's my birthday weekend. I grew up also loving the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like saw the original cartoon in 1987, collected all the toys, discovered there was a black and white series that was more edgy. Like, wow, sign me up. Um, Even got to see the 1990 Jim Henson film. Like, my mom took me to a Wednesday night midnight sneak preview. Like that shit is unheard of. And that thing, that was an amazing film. But we've had, as you mentioned, so many reboots and iterations of them now that, like, good or bad, this doesn't phase me. I am not looking forward to it by any means, but I'm also like, people are going to enjoy that. The animation looks just like the first Spider-Verse movie, so I'm not impressed. But again, I'm like, okay, they are doing something different. Donatello's got braces, and Michelangelo's voice is super squeaky. So nothing I'm going to go see in the theater. But if it comes on Netflix or whatever streaming service, I'm like, I'll check it out. My August comprises of a movie that's apparently a true story, and that is the Gran Turismo film. Are you familiar with the game Gran Turismo?
Yes, I've actually seen this trailer quite a few times. The past couple of times I'm in the theaters, and it looks good.
Looks pretty dry, but I'm also like, I'm just intrigued by the story and the idea and how, like, oh, so they did The Last Starfighter, but for real? Weird. My very first apartment outside of high school, like, my roommate and his friend would be always occupying the living room playing the original Gran Turismo on PlayStation 1. So I'm familiar with it. I know it has its audience. I understand, like, those tracks you go on, like, they are one for one a true interpretation of whatever track it is. So when I found out that there was this contest to take the best gamers and then put them behind a $500,000 rocket ship, it was like, wow, this sounds pretty fucking cool. And yeah, it looks cool too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that 1 week after the Ninja Turtles on August 11th. Oh, and the guy that this movie is based on, he is a stunt driver for the movie. It's weird that he's just not in the movie, but he's doing the stunts for it, because that's how he's like one of 12 that can do this now.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I like that little fun fact, and I definitely would like to see this movie. I do agree that it does seem like it's predictable or dry, but I think it's interesting enough that that knowing that it's based on a true story and it's not just some half-baked like movie that's just coming out, is interesting to me, at least.
Yeah, directed by Neil Blomkamp, and then David Harbour plays the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. What you got for September, Drew?
For September, we're getting into the dump months, aka all the kids are going back to school. So this is where movie theaters and places are just throwing out movies and hoping they make something, because not a lot is happening during this time. Something that I mean, we're going to be saying, we've said this a lot already, but talking about some things that we didn't know were getting sequels. I didn't know that Equalizer 3 was being made and coming out. I remember loving the first Equalizer. I don't remember much of Equalizer 2, but I don't think it was terrible. And then when I was leaving my theater at one point, I don't remember, but I just remember seeing the trail of the poster for Equalizer 3 right next to the exit that I was walking out. And I was like, what? The Equalizer? And I was like, is Denzel Washington going to be in it, or is it Queen Latifah? Because at this point, Queen Latifah is now on the TV show for so long, and we haven't had Denzel be the Equalizer in so long that I was like, are they bringing it back, and are they both going to be in it? But Denzel's right there smack dab in the middle, and I'm intrigued. It can't be as bad as that one movie that came out with him and Jared Leto uh, on HBO Max. The Littlest Things, the
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. I too have Equalizer 3 on my list here. I actually have an opposite
Woo!
experience. I saw the first one at a friend's house and was like, okay, I got what people like that. But then was shocked that,
Yeah.
oh, there's a part two. I gotta check that out. Oh, Pedro Pascal's here. That'll be fun. And then left like, all right, I enjoyed that. Didn't think another thing about it. Like, are we getting a third one? Who knows? Trailer drops for this. It's the Red Band trailer, and I'm just like, oh shit, I want to see Equalizer 1 and 2 now. All of a sudden, like, I could not be more excited for this film. So I haven't seen any of the Queen Latifah series, but I've enjoyed all the Denzel films. I enjoyed the majority of Antoine Fuqua films I've seen. I think the only one I didn't really like
Mhm.
was Emancipation, and I was just like, what happened here? Like, before this, I could say every movie I've seen I loved, and then I was just like, this doesn't hit right for some reason. But yeah, Equalizer 3, September 1st. It's going to be a hard R, and yeah, I keep wondering how Denzel got this role. Like, he's done action before, but this is like, this is a different character for you. Maybe he liked the old TV show. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, I won't say no to more Denzel Washington
Why would you?
in my life. Yeah, exactly. One movie that we didn't talk about or didn't bring up because I totally forgot about it, but
Oh.
as we were talking, I looked it up and saw it.
Mhm.
What are we thinking about another sequel that's coming out? The Indiana Jones movie.
Oh yeah,
Um, the Indiana Jones 5.
Indiana Jones
I've
5.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer a few times. I remember seeing it because me and my friend Joey went to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was really really good.
Mhm.
And that came in. He's a huge Indiana Jones fan, and I rolled at seeing this movie commercial pop up. He was like, "That looks good," and I was like, "I don't know, man. They lost me. They lost me. Like, I don't know.
Isn't
What do you think about it?"
isn't that a little awkward when you're sitting next to your friend and then you're like, that new Power Rangers movie looks dope, and I'm like, really? All right. Indiana Jones 5. I am not excited about it. That actually comes out the very last day of quarter two, which is why we didn't talk about it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah.
not a bad looking trailer. I like the music theme, but that's about all I can say to it. I'm not opposed to a new Indiana Jones film, and I like Harrison Ford, but I don't want to see Grandpa get punched in the face by a Nazi. Like, the man's in his 80s now. Just, I don't feel like it's the right fit. Could be in the minority on this one here, but after everyone bitched and moaned about part four, which I kind of blame the fans for, I don't know why we got a part five. I don't know why we needed a part five, and I don't know why people are going like, this one could be better. It's like it's all jokes about him being elderly and just a little bit slow on the draw, and I think he's an alcoholic in this one, and like, ah, yeah, I don't have the most positive opinions on it, but I am going to see it because I have to review these things.
I have a theory that it was because of part four that we have everybody agreeing to do a part five. It's kind of like what was it, Rocky 5, I believe, with Tommy
Okay.
Gunn, or he I just remember Sylvester Stallone when he was doing tours or something for Balboa, that they were
Mhm.
like, "Why would you do this?" And he was like, "I couldn't leave it off on that fifth one. That fifth one was so terrible that I
Mhm.
had to reprise this character and do a last one." Which then he went on to do Grudge Match, which felt like Rocky 7 at that point, and it was just like, let's just hang up the gloves, you know. So I
Mhm.
feel like because if they would have left it off on the trilogy, maybe there wouldn't be a fourth one. Maybe this fifth one wouldn't have happened. But because they came back for that fourth one and it was just utterly destroyed, and now in like pop culture meme history of just like everybody knowing that it's like terrible. It's one of the worst movies. It's kind of up there with Avatar, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, that one was terrible because they introduced aliens. Well, now they're like, well, we got a script. This one's gonna be better. This one's a better ending or whatever. And I don't know. I feel like that's the theory of it all.
Who knows? The reviews literally just came out today, or the first reactions, and it's positive. Again, people are excited that they got to see it first and see it on the Disney lot or whatever. I mean, you make a great point when it comes to Rocky. It's because Rocky 5 was so bad, we thankfully got a Rocky 6, and because Rocky 6 was good, now Rocky 5 is actually as integral to the rest of the series. Like you still need to see that dip in his life for him to have that one final comeback. But then we get the next three Creed films. So yeah, where I'm going with this is if part 5 is any good, then maybe we could go back and say, like, part 4 adds some, has some charm to it. And Shia LaBeouf, it's not his fault. Shia LaBeouf was swinging with the monkeys. They made him do that. I don't know, TBD. But yeah, not looking forward to the Indiana Jones.
What if the whole Indiana Jones movie is, it starts off with Harrison Ford on his deathbed, and the whole movie is a past memory of him like going through something, and then the end of the movie is just a hard heartbeat monitor just going, and then they kill Indiana Jones. At the very end, we have the funeral, and then it's like, boom, Indiana Jones is no more. We're done. Like, that's a hard stop right there. That's like, we're done. This is it. Like, this is over, everybody.
It's James Mangold, so it could be just as impactful as that Logan ending. We'll have to see. You have me intrigued now, Drew Angelman. Like, I'm just like, ooh, if they end it like that, that's dark.
That would be very dark.
My guy, this has been a fantastic recording. I'm looking forward to all these movies, or at least most of them. But is there anything you want to plug before we go?
I'm always putting stuff up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AngelCakeVids, where I talk about the challenge and other reality TV shows. I'll be adding more over there and doing various stuff as well. So, yeah.
There you go. That's what's up. As for me, I do some stuff around here. You can find me and friend of the family, Mike Fish, on the Waffle Box Pod. It is the original Waffle Box, the People's Podcast. You accept no substitutes because it is the best part of Wednesdays, coming to you from the future home of Super Bowl 60. It is the Waffle Box, and you can find episodes on YouTube at Waffle Box Pod, as well as the Bosnet.family. Others, for Drew Angelman, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
It's like, no, it wasn't. It couldn't be. Whatever.